I think it's a fairly universal artist feeling that you used to do way more work back when you were young than you currently do. I've been living for these memes that have been going around. Bones, show them the memes, the ones you keep sending me as a call out. But yeah, as you can tell, I personally feel this quite a lot. For example, my comic Pretty Mouth, I finished like all 250 pages within a year, give or take. I don't know how I did that. I'm currently struggling to complete like 50-something pages in 2 years. What happened to me? Am I a decrepit old lady? Am I an 80-year-old wandering around my house, not knowing where I am? Anyways, joking aside, why does this happen? Why do we seemingly finish a ton of illustrations or comic pages when we're teenagers, or when we're kids, or in our 20s, whatever? Why does it seem like we did more last year than we did this year? I mean, I personally didn't. I didn't do anything last year. I had all these goals and completed nothing. Anyways, so what I have figured out from much soul searching, there are a few reasons why you may feel this way. So, number one, it's faster to complete artwork when you don't know what you're doing. Honestly. When I started in comics, I had a very basic understanding of like how to make a comic. I read comics, I knew the basic rules like flow, panel sizing, composition, character drawing art, I don't know, color, line art, I don't know. I knew the basics, but I didn't have any practice with them, obviously. So that meant that I could shoot out like 10 million pages really, really quickly, because they were full of mistakes and weird panels and strange compositions that didn't work at all, and funny facial expressions. And looking back, it all looks terrible, but I did it really quickly. And now that I know what I'm doing, it takes a lot longer to make pages because, you know, I have trouble moving on from them until they look good. I will sit and work at a page for a long time. And I think also just to get things right, for me personally, it just takes longer now because I'm not slapdashing everything. I'm just working harder to make sure it's good from the start. It, you know, helps with quality control. Secondly, as you get older, you get way more responsibilities. For example, when I started in comics, I just finished high school. We kind of started in our last year of high school working on our comic Sovereign. So I spent a year after high school. So during high school, like I didn't have much responsibility. I did schoolwork. I didn't have any part-time work that I did. And I lived at home. Like there was nothing going on really except for comics. And then after high school, I spent a year not working, just kind of doing comics and trying to get freelance work. It was mostly focused on comics. And then after that, I worked part-time for a really long time. And that gave me a ton of free time to do comics. When I worked as a barista, I would work until noontime. And then I would come home and I just did comics until I had to go to bed. Meanwhile, today, I work full-time. Me and Bones have pets that we take care of. We have to do housework, and we still need social time where we hang out together and are a cute couple. As well as, make sure that we have time to relax and, decompress after working all day, There's a lot less time to work on comics. It's just the reality that we're in. And, the same can go for anyone at any stage in their life. You go from high school to college, and college is a lot more work. You have a lot more stuff to worry about. The work's harder. You have to pay bills if you're living by yourself, etc. And if you're currently sitting in quarantine, like a lot of us, it's still hard to find time to do comics. You're living in a very different situation than you were in the before times. Maybe you're stuck in close quarters with family or roommates, and that can be really grating. It's also a really uncertain, kind of troublesome, scary time, which can really be taxing on you, and it's understandable if you don't have as much energy to do comics when you are in a high-stress situation. It's totally different from when you were, in middle school or high school or even college. The older you get, you often get less free time to work on your comic. It's just a fact. And I think finally, the final reason why it feels like we used to do more work is because we're lying to ourselves. Listen, I think we're really rude to ourselves. It's really easy to look at what you did today and think, wow, I did nothing. And then look back at what you did over an entire summer last year and be like, I did so much. Because, you're looking at drastically different measures of time. And our brains do that, and it's rude to think that way. It's rude to yourself. But it's how our brains work. And I think, our view just gets skewed of our output. Like when I was looking at my goals last year, joking aside, I kept saying like, I didn't achieve anything. But Bones, reminded me I completed 2 small comics for like anthologies. And I did tons of artwork at my day job because I do graphic design work. So I'm probably doing just as much work as I used to. It's just spread out over different things than it used to be instead of working on just one comic for all the time. And I was also thinking back during that time when like I didn't work and I was just focused on comics, or when I worked part-time, I remember being really miserable. And yeah, I got a lot of comic pages done, more than I do now, but I remember at the time I kept thinking like, oh my god, I'm so slow. Why can't I make more work? Why can't I make more comic pages? And really being angry at myself for not having a really good output, even though looking back, it's like, whoa, I did tons. So, our brains are rude. Don't listen to them. Yeah, it's wild. All this to say, go easy on yourselves. I'll take this advice as well. There's nothing wrong with doing less work than you did before, if that is even the case. And to help your mental well-being, I think it's really important to focus on effort rather than output. That's something that really helped me not hate myself for not doing enough work. Focus on, I guess, like celebrating the time that you spend doing art. Really focus on how much fun you're having, because creating art is fun. It can be a bit taxing when you have to work on it as opposed to when you're just doodling, but it is still fun and cool, and it's cool that you can do it. And enjoy how you're able to put time into it, and enjoy the ideas you're working with and the art you're doing and the fun you're having, and be happy when you get to spend 20 minutes on it, because, it's better than no time spent on it. And don't focus so much on putting out 20 pages instead of 10 pages. Because if you really focus on that output, you're just going to be disappointed if you ever have a day where you don't do, X amount of pages finished. It's just a way to set yourself up for sadness. You're valid. You're still an artist or a writer, even when you're not doing art or writing. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of living, and it's not determined by how much stuff you put out. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. Take care of yourselves. You're all lovely and amazing. Make sure to subscribe and go check out Bones' anthology that he put together called Moonlight. It's about gay werewolves. There should be a link down below. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.